Entitled Mom tries to take a prize we earned at a talent show. My 17 male school had a talent show yesterday. I'm a Sreli in a Kiss tribute band, and I came up with a guitar solo to go along with the song Shock Me, so we played Shock Me. We were towards the end of the show, and the people before us went up. They had 9 people in their group, and they were doing a dance number. They were really good, and I got nervous that the audience would be underwhelmed when we went out. They were doing somersaults, and had amazing choreography. They finished, and we went out, and performed the best we could. The stage went dark, and a spotlight shined on me when I did my solo. We finished our performance, and exited the stage. A little while later, the audience voted in who they thought should win. We tied with the dance group. The host went onto the stage, and announced that both groups would go out again, and perform a different song/dance. We went out first, and played Christine 16. I wailed on my guitar, and our drummer pounded his drums. Our rhythm guitarist moved around the stage the most, while our bassist was singing the song. We had a really energetic performance, and we got a huge applause. The dance group went out, and they put on a solid show, but it was obvious they didn't plan another routine, and to be fair, we didn't plan to play another song either. We decided on Christine 16 30 seconds before we went out. The audience voted again, and it was close, but we won by a few votes. We accepted our prize, which is a gift card to the pizza place by our school, and the show was over. The audience went to the parking lot, and my band and I went outside, so we could get ready to go home. The dance group came up to us and congratulated us. My mom's friend then came over and started to lecture us about playing Christine 16. She said, "My son doesn't need to hear that crap." Then demanded we give her our prize for corrupting her son. We refused, and she started to flip out. I'm going to point out now that her son is 16. Once she saw we weren't going to give our prize up, she tried to forcibly grab it. We passed it between us, so she couldn't take it. It came to me, and she tried to grab wrist, and that's when some other parents got involved and separated her from us. She yelled at us a little more before she left too. This morning, I woke up, brushed my teeth, and went to the kitchen. My mom came into the kitchen and gave me a 20-minute lecture on how I disrespected her friend. I told her that she tried to take our prize, but she didn't listen and walked out. Entitled plus racist parent tries to get me fired. So the title is kinda self-explanatory, but some context. I volunteer a lot at my local community center. I help out with the kids and stuff, help run programs like a daycare, creative writing, robotics, etc. Most of the things are weekly, except for the daycare, of course, but I only volunteer for it on Fridays. I'm a second-gen Indian immigrant. Parents were born and raised in India, moved to this country, and had me plus my twin. I'm very vocal and proud of my heritage and culture. Even though I'm not religious, I don't shove it down others' throats though, or at least I try not to. So an Indian parent came in to sign their child, I'll call the kid K, up for the daycare. K mostly spoke Hindi, and didn't really want to be away from their parent, first time and all, and I spoke Hindi too, so it fell on me to console her, and help her feel welcome and stuff. I didn't mind, obviously, Kay was a great kid, and so I spent the next few hours with them, until around closing time. This is where the ep comes in, close to when we were about to close, the ep comes in to get their child, and here's me talking to Kay in Hindi. Ep gets so pissed, and walks up to me, and starts yelling about how us Pakis need to speak English, while we are in the country, to respect the soldiers who died fighting against my kind and stuff, and said a load of other crap. I stopped listening. It was difficult, but I kept my cool and all, which made them even more pissed, and then they started talking about how I was probably talking in Hindi, because I was trying to indoctrinate K into some terrorist sect, and that Tep was gonna try to get me fired. Obviously it didn't work, because my boss was right there, and heard the whole thing, thank God, but I still thought it was hilarious. My aunt raised a spoiled little brat who's driving everyone insane. My niece was born in 2015, and she is the youngest child in my aunt's family. She has 2 older sisters who are 20 and 14. For context, we live in Asia where the culture and parenting style are fairly different from the West. Usually we are more familiar with tough love and our parents being very strict. My aunt's family is no exception. I remember coming over to hang out with my cousin, let's call her May, who is now 20, and seeing her being beaten and yelled at for the tiniest mistake. Their family also struggles financially, which brought more responsibilities on May as she's the oldest child. She probably spent most of her childhood looking after her younger siblings. And this is when the brat comes in. I've interacted with many children from all ages, but I've never seen a child who's as entitled, disruptive, loud and spoiled as her. Let's call her ANH. Ever since she was born, ANH has been the center of attention. Even though she's 7 now, her sisters still have to spoon feed her, and she would refuse to eat if there wasn't an iPad or phone in front of her. If ANH doesn't get what she wants, she will throw a tantrum and make a scene regardless of the situation until she's satisfied. Funny thing is, my aunt seems to be okay with ANH acting like this. She would choose the easier way of giving her spoiled brat what she wants instead of teaching her boundaries. What's even funnier is how my aunt still expects her oldest daughter to do the parenting despite me being old enough to have her own life now. She's not allowed to move out. ANH grows up to be more and more entitled, while her siblings receive little attention. Recently, the middle child in my aunt's family was diagnosed with severe scoliosis at 13 due to incorrect studying posture over the years, which could have been avoided if her parents paid enough attention to her. My aunt also expects others, including me or anyone in my mom's side, to look after ANH. Whenever I refuse to let ANH cross boundaries, my aunt would criticize me for being petty. The brat always begs to come over to my family's house, which my mom eventually agrees to. Every time I have to babysit this little brat is like going through hell. She's extremely loud and needs someone to play with her every 2 minutes. She demands my mother to buy her boba and snacks. There's this one time where she tried to look through my closet to find my figures, and when I refused to let her touch my stuffs, she repeatedly yelled, "But I want to play, I want to play." But my ass. She would then throw stuffs at me, turn the lights on and off constantly, yell to my face that she hates me, and cry to my mom that I'm bullying her. I tried to form agreements with ANH that if she's well behaved I'll let her play with my figures for a while, but she always refuses to listen to my terms and throws yet another tantrum. I just don't understand how people can tolerate this type of behavior. She's still a child now, but I can already imagine how much of a pain in the ass she will become if my aunt keeps up with her parenting style. Even my mother agrees that ANH is spoiled and doesn't know how to behave. I just feel bad for my other nieces who grew up with little attention. Both of them told me that they hated ANH because of how misbehaved she is, but I think it's more like jealousy than hatred. Karen tries to get refund after drinking all of her smoothie. In this story, I was just relaxing on a weekend and I decided I would get a smoothie from the smoothie bar. Their policy is, if you take 2 sips and you don't like it, you can get a different drink. It seemed pretty rare to happen though, as the multiple times I walked past I never saw someone complain. Until that weekend, I order my regular drink, cookies and cream with strawberry and raspberry, and as I'm waiting I see the typical Karen go to the pickup area and complain about her son's drink being terrible. She looked to be mid-40s, while her son looked to be 16, 17-ish. The staff seemed to be confused when the drink was empty. She was screaming about getting another drink and her son was standing there wanting to leave. She clearly can't read and is too low IQ to realize that she isn't gonna get her way. After about 2 minutes I get my drink, tell the Karen to screw off, and tell her kid to have a good day. I still think to this day she's still arguing to the staff about the drink. I pray I'm wrong though.